everyone. Hi, hi. Hi. Thank you, everyone. Today we're going to make an illustrated quote. And I've just made a rough illustration or lettering. This is the quote that we're going to make today. This is something that I found was very inspiring and something to live by. So we're going to need our usual materials: a pencil, a pen, maybe some watercolors, paints. If you'd like to just write this down somewhere so that by the time everyone gathers, we'll give another minute or so, then you don't have to hold on to, you don't have to look out for this quote again. We'll be using drawing paper cut to this A5 size. Alright, let's begin. I'm folding my sheet in half so that it becomes manageable and everyone can see what's happening on screen all at the same time. We're going to be making this quote: there is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. Now, I think these quotes can be very inspiring, especially for people who like that positive affirmation every day. And this also gives you something that you can practice when you are doing something like art or learning a new craft, where you set your own benchmarks instead of comparing it to somebody else, because you don't want to be just better than the next person. You can always find ways to be better than yourself. So the reason I have written this text in this manner is because when we do lettering, or any kind of lettering, you'll notice that the words are written in a certain hierarchy, so that the eye focuses on a few important words. So you have noble, superior, true nobility, superior, and former self. So it kind of gives you an idea first of what this is talking about, and then it will also draw people in to read what the whole quote means. So I'm going to show you a few quotes that I had made into cards. This once, and this was several years so you can see that the lettering is very, very mediocre. I'm not very proud of it now, but it was awesome, and I made all of these without using an eraser, directly in paint, so I was quite happy with the outcome. This one especially turned out really nice. Stop being afraid of what could go wrong and focus on what could go right. So you can stress on stop and focus. Then you have do it right the first time, measure twice, cut once. And I've put a tape measure here. Now you'll notice that all these flourishes were very ambitious right in the beginning. When anybody who's doing lettering, the first thing you want to do is flourish. And in my opinion, now it feels like this is when we see Olympic divers or something. They do such beautiful flips in the air, and that's what you want to do, but you have to first learn to swim, and we just forget that. But having said that, I'm very proud of a few things. I managed to get a very nice vintage lettering done here. So although there are some things that have not worked, there are some things that have worked. The colors have worked, the balance of the letters has worked. So in everything that you do, you will always first see things that are not right, but then take a breath and also notice that there are some things that you do get right. Here I was just exploring the idea of illustrating a border, and then this is just a typed font. Same with this. I wanted to try out. This is like a Romano embroidery design that I was trying to translate into illustration, and it turned out really pretty. And this one was towards the end, where I had better understanding of balances. And this is also very true. Every problem is only an opportunity to think creatively. And this is a quote that I think I came up with myself, because I found that you can either focus on the problem or just say that if there is a way that I can find to overcome it, then work towards that. So this is what we are going to do today. I've divided the text into so many lines, but I'm going to make a few changes. So I'm going to put this word superior back over here. Yeah, I do save the video on stories every day. I'm also trying to save it on YouTube, but sometimes it saves, sometimes it doesn't. It's a bandwidth issue. But on Instagram, the day's stories are available every day for 24 hours. So yeah, so this is line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. My god, this is a lot. We have to do a lot today. So what we'll do is you can create this kind of division in your text, and you have 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 lines which are smaller text, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 which are larger text. So already we are trying to break down this problem into a workable solution, and these can all fit within a certain size, and this one will fit in twice as much. So this is X and this will be twice X. So this is how you can change, you can try and figure out how to distribute and size your lettering. Yeah, the YouTube channel, I have written the YouTube channel in the bio, so you can check that out. Unfortunately, it's not a clickable link, but at least you will get to know what the YouTube channel is. I'm trying to make it clickable. Alright, so let's begin with this. If you've all written this down, it would be great. Always keep your text in front of you. And now what we're going to do is distribute all the letters in the center. They're not going to be this large. It's going to be just about so much, and then we're going to paint all over. I'm cutting my sheet. And for those who are not comfortable with there's still some people joining in. We are going to make illustrated quotes today. Oh great, okay, somebody's done a search on Aditi Dev. Yeah, thank you. Oh great, lovely, thank you so much. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, so you can freely also make your you can make lines in the proportions that we have drawn over here, but I'm going to show you a different way of doing this. I'm going to write true nobility in a line like that. So I'm making two compound curves over here in the center, and I'm going to write the word true nobility. And I'm going to focus more on this. And then I'm going to directly write in pencil. So there is nothing noble. And I'm keeping an eye on my the rough sheet that I have written. Noble in being superior to your, and I'm changing this a little bit, fellow man, because when I have written the text like that, it automatically draws the eye to the words true nobility, fellow man, comma, true nobility is being superior to your, and I'm going to change this to make life a little simpler. So this was what I had thought of earlier, and this is what I'm going to make now. And I'm going to make the words true nobility stand out more. Okay, this is how it will look. Now I've drawn this a lot darker for everyone to see, but normally I would make it really light. And for those of you who had questions about the flexible eraser, I found one packet. This is a Faber-Castell eraser. This is what it's called, Kneadable Art Eraser, and that's what I'm using. This one, for those who are new, it's a flexible tensile eraser. So you can mold it in various shapes and you can actually roll it on your work. This is going to shake the camera a little bit. Just give me a second so I can lighten all this. So today I'm going to show you how to make a wash, a basic wash on your on your paper. So we have to really erase this away completely almost. Yeah, good question. This quote is by Ernest Hemingway, and I'm going to write that at the bottom as well. So that also becomes part of the quote. Yeah. This is okay. All right, now for the wash, I'm going to give wash in 2 colors. I'm going to make a little bit of cobalt blue, and maybe from the bottom a little bit of gamboge. So a mix of yellow and blue. And washes can be great fun. You can really have a great time with washes. The trick with the wash is always start with the light color, and when you're making the wash, a better trick is to use a flat brush. But even if you have a round brush, hold the paper at an angle so that there's a natural drip to the paint. And because we are doing a very casual beginner's lettering, don't worry so much about the edges. The edges can look rough if you want. But as you're coming lower, I'm now going to start reducing the paint quantity and almost go to no paint at all. And then from the other side, I'm going to start off with the cobalt blue. Please check your consistency before you start so that it's not too deep, because the last thing you want is put some color on paper and you just get this annoying blob of concentrated blue or something, and then you don't know what to do with it. Okay, so I have not mixed the 2 colors, so if there's some confusion about the washes, I'm not mixing the colors. I am independently using the colors, and they are going to go on my sheet like so. Okay, now I'm going to let this dry a little bit before I do any kind of painting on this, but in the meantime, let's just explore some lettering styles so we can figure out what we want to put on our final sheet. Now there is one way that you can do a fake running hand, which many of you might enjoy, and that's maybe I can enlarge. I'll show this to you really large, but you can write it like regular handwriting. So if you write just in print, you can write the letters such that say this is your normal handwriting. I think everybody can write something like this, right? In this, what you do is just write the letters far away, and then don't end them too high. Just end them shallow and just write them a little far away, end them at the base. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm reducing how much of the letter I'm writing. And then what you do is just add a connector line to all of these. And avoid making any flourishes here. And you can practice this in pencil if you want to first, so that when you write it in pen you can just flow. When the words are written in pencil, well, if you normally write in caps, that's perfectly fine. But whenever you get the opportunity to learn something new, you must just dive into it. You might just find that there's something new you can write. So this is how I've written nothing, and then when I go over it, I can join these letters. So you do a bottom to top, and many of you, I'm sure, will have some idea of how to join the letters, and this way it starts becoming a little more pretty than if you are hesitating like this. And at any rate, both these will still look better than what you'll end up doing with your normal handwriting. And within no time you'll be able to do this without having to do the fake writing bit. Now for the word noble, I'm going to do a combination of this kind of running hand along with the block letter, and maybe for true nobility I will change that and make it a 3D block letter. So let's practice that. Again, we can make it in pencil first. No harm in practicing any number of times, no harm in using pencil before, but avoid erasers till you finish. I am going to use an eraser. Okay, now I get an idea of how big my letters should be. If I write so much, it's going to go really far. So I'm going to change where I'm going to write the letters. Now when you're writing the letters on a line like this, for those of you who can't, like Poonam, you can't write in print, no worry. But if you want to make it look a little different from your regular handwriting, just spread the letters out. In our regular handwriting, we are usually used to writing it like this, and that does not do much to the beauty of the letters. But you can just do this. Just make the connector lines sleep along the base line, and it instantly starts looking a lot more interesting. So I'm using my pencil letters. Instead of erasing them and writing them again, I'm using them as a guideline to change how I'm going to write, or where or what size I'm going to write my letters. And that way I will be able to size them so that they fit in the space that I have appointed it. And again, this is in rough, so this is the second time I'm writing it, that is with pen, and the third time will be on the final sheet, and by then my eye and hand will have a better idea of how much I want to spread the letters, what is going to be the space in between the letters, what are the shapes going to be. The pen I'm using right now is an Artline 0.6 pen. It's a thicker pen than I normally use, but that's so that everybody can see what I'm doing. These pens are also water resistant, but I found that they're not as efficient as the micron tip pens. which is this brand. Alright, let's see if, yeah, the paper is dried. Now again, with text you must be careful not to overdo, not to do too many text types, too many fonts in one go, because it just overwhelms your piece and you can't focus on anything. So I'm going to do this 3D effect, but I'm going to do this in paint. I don't think I want to do it in pen because it's too stark. So I will write it in pencil. And with art, remember that art is not linear. So while we do have to write a whole statement that can be read from top to bottom, left to right, when you are drawing it, you can draw it in any sequence. You can start from the bottom and write Ernest Hemingway and go all the way to the top. You can write words from right to left, left to right, center to outside, anything you want. The artwork must look pretty at the end of the day. That has to be the goal. So learning from my experience, I'm going to make my letters really small, and these you might not be able to see because they are going to be really light, so that I can paint them. And like you see, the wash now has reduced. The intensity of the color is reduced. I think I'll also change the way I'm writing nobility and not make it too boxy. Let's see. And what I will do is, we have these lines here which I shall make in gold, and I'm going to make maybe these roses that we made last time, or what should we make? Wait a minute. Yeah, we can make something like that, blue colored roses like these, maybe one over here. So I will appoint its place, and I'm going to draw only part of it so that it does not eat into too much space. And with every element I'm putting in, I'm going to adjust the rest of the letters. So what I've shown you in the beginning, all of that can change. But that's a very important lesson that one must keep in mind, that depending upon how the composition grows, you have to be flexible and willing to change anything, any one or any number of elements that need changing. Some of you have been sending me pictures and they're all really lovely. I find it very difficult to critique them, so I normally just give a thumbs up and a smile, but lately I've started sending out some comments on certain changes that can be made. One very important commonality I see is that we tend to put in far too many colors in our piece of work, so it just starts becoming too gaudy. So I'm going to make this rose in blue, and I'm not drawing the shape right now. I'm going to paint this in cerulean blue first, but again it's just a light wash right now. With this I can also show you how there are various ways in which we can draw the same motifs that we have learned so far. You don't always have to make the same make the lines first and then do a wash. We can do a wash first, and then I'm going to make the lines in a deeper blue so that I can create dimension. And there's something about using blue for nobility. Somewhere in the back of our mind, maybe through literature, we have learnt about nobility being blue-blooded or whatever, so then the blue really works. Yeah, there's a request from people to show how to make a rose. I'll just quickly show that to you because I have to wait for my rose to dry. For those of you who are familiar with it, you can have a second look at how the rose is made. I'll just hold it a little closer so it becomes easier for you. I'll keep the reference image close by. I'm going to start with this part, and you can always whenever you are drawing an illustration, always look for some part of that object that is unhindered to sight. So I'm going to draw this C at an angle, and I'm going to take it up to make it look like almost a teardrop, but I'm not going to touch it. And then from just behind, I'm going to pull what will look like a fold. And from the other side, I'm going to also create a similar shape, but I'm not going to go over. I'm going to go under and create this. So I'm creating two identical-ish shapes. They don't have to be ideally not identical, but the same process. And then I'm going to make this wave shape in the lap of this V, and also create a fold here, which may or may not touch either or both ends. And then I'm going to make another wave over here and another fold. And if you have observed roses, they're more or less like that. They're just folding into each other. So this is the center of our flower, and then I'm going to make petals all around it, and these petals are going to overlap each other. Instead of starting the next petal from here, I'm going to start it from behind, which gives us some dimension. And you can have 5 petals, 6 petals, any number of petals. Oh yeah, the colored pizza, ice cream and donut, I haven't colored them yet. Sorry, I'm being very lazy. Okay, I hope you guys have got this. And for the leaves underneath, because the leaves are actually the characters that endorse this flower and make it look more like a rose. That's how you can make leaves. You can also, if you have the space and patience for it, make a stalk like that, where you can have a set of 3 leaves, because that is also very characteristic of a rose. Like so. Alright? Okay, back to nobility. Okay, I'm going to do a much more casual lettering style than I had planned for, because we might just run out of time. So I'm going to here's a tip for when you're in a rush. If you have a brush that does not go to a complete point but has a flattish end, it can be a boon. So I'm just going to make the flat end work for me, and without having to make an outline, I get these beautiful flat lines in just a couple of strokes. And this is not a flat brush, this is a round brush, but I'm just flattening it along the edge of my palette so that I can get a quick flat line. I'm going to change the shape of my R as well. I'm not very pleased with how the first R turned out. Many of these pencil lines, especially for this piece of art, will be visible even after I finish. So when I put up the finished picture later on, there's a good chance that you will see the pencil lines. But firstly, they don't look too bad, and second is when you are practicing, allow the pencil lines to be there, because that's how you can figure out how well you managed to make your letters, whether you got your letter proportions right. Okay, I'm going to change the thickness of the word nobility. I've focused a lot of thickness on true. This is no, this is cobalt blue. And the word nobility, because it is so long, I'm going to make it slightly thinner. But the spaces between all the letters, meaning TRUE and the letters for nobility, I'm going to try and keep the spaces between those letters in each individual word as close, as identical as possible. And here are some tricks that you can use. If you feel that you're running out of space, letters like L, T, E, anything that's got a horizontal crossbar can be just shortened. How did my calligraphy journey start? Oh my god, that is going to be another hour-long session. But thank you for asking. My calligraphy journey, I think, started in the first standard. But I think, before that, my brother had a wonderful handwriting. He was 8 years older than me, and he was in school long before I was even born. So as a child, I saw his notebooks and I thought that was some kind of amazing magic, to be able to hold something in your hand and make such beautiful shapes. So that was one. And I remember even as a young child, I would just take any scrap of paper and write. I distinctly remember writing gibberish, just because I was so eager to write. And then when I went to school, I was first enrolled in a convent school where my first grade teacher had the most beautiful cursive handwriting that I can remember. At least my memory from 40 years ago was that her handwriting was just fantastic. So I guess I was just hooked. Okay, so for those of you who want to see the rose one more time, I'm going to redraw it, but this time in pen. Okay, I'll hold it a little closer so you get a better idea. I'm going to make the lines on the rose with a mix of cerulean and cobalt, and I'm going to go over the same lines, but I'm not necessarily going to go over the same form. So I'm not going to join all of them. So there'll be a few new lines, some old lines. This is how it's drawn. So first I drew the center, and I'm also going to do a few textural lines like that. But that's optional. You may or may not want to do it. Okay. And I'm going to leave the leaves to do them later. So this is how you can spend a lot of time on making the more important words more decorative. You can also do this whole thing in pen and paint it over like we did when we painted those boxes. Okay, so now I'm going to write the rest of the text. And how am I going to write it? I have lost my text. Oh, here it is. Okay, good. There's nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. That's how I'm going to change it. Okay. My gold pen is going to come first. I'm going to make this line so I know how much space I have left. I will use my black pen because I am going to do a little bit of black lettering. Sorry, lettering in black. So this gives me an idea of where I can make the gold line on top. I will make this kind of 3D effect to the letters true and nobility. I'm just making a black line on the left and the bottom. This quote is by Ernest Hemingway. I can't believe in 2 sessions the only authors I have chosen are Ernest Hemingway. I might as well start reading that book. Okay, this is how we'll get a sense of 3D. The gold pen is an Artline 900 XF metallic ink pen, and there is a measurement over here, 2.3 mm. Okay, so this starts looking a little more formal. Now we know how much we want to write around it. I'm going to use the fat pen today, and first write the bottom so that I get the spacing in between. So the bottom is true nobility, and when you're writing this, try and keep this in front of you and straight, because you're going to write just a few words. Make sure that you can see how the baseline is working. So I'm going to do this is wait, and just visualize where the next word is coming. And this is where it helps to have written this text before and have it in front of you, because these are the places where you can really go wrong. The text is right in front of me, so I know at any point what letters have to come. Now I'm not sure what color I want to write the word superior in, but I know that I want to write the rest of it in black as well. If you are uncomfortable, always make a line. There's no shame in making a line. You can write and paint, absolutely. Is being superior, and I'm writing these at a slight slant but you can write it however you are comfortable. After having written the text 3 times, you get an idea of how much space you have and how you can finish words like that. These are the things that make your artwork look really good, when you balance out the negative spaces from all sides. Is being superior to your former self. Now we get an idea of how much space we have to write the rest of the text, and I'm going to attempt, now let's see how this goes, to write the rest of the text in an upside down or from bottom to top order. That's crazy, but might as well. There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. So man will come here. The space I'm leaving here is about as much as this. So man will be here. I'm keeping an eye that this baseline and this baseline is the same. Going back to the sentence, to your fellow, so my to will come somewhere here. How much space do I have? To your in my opinion, making quotes like these is almost as good as the cursive writing drills that convent school, I think it was just a given. Everyone in convent schools did a cursive writing, and there was a whole page of what I remember was charity begins at home, and we just used to write the whole thing because we needed everyone's lettering to look beautiful. Okay, so the more you write this, in the writing of just one piece, this text will just start sitting into your head and you start memorizing it, and it starts becoming something that you can follow for yourself. There is nothing noble in being superior. So I'm going to write in being superior over here, and I get my balance, spacing. This is as good as walking a tightrope in now there's a lot of space here, but because we have a superior at the bottom, that's going to be highlighted. As you can see, I am deliberately changing how far I want to write these letters and pushing them further and further. I'm also going to bring this here, and I'm going to read it again. There is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self. Alright, now we can write the words noble and superior, and then we can write the words on top and the bottom. And there's only 10 minutes to go, so I'm going to do this really quick, and hopefully I can finish this before the video ends. And in case I don't, I might just extend this session by another 5 or 10 minutes because I don't want to let this go without having finished it. So big question, what colors to use, and I'm going to go the easiest way and make it just blue, because when in doubt, go with blue. And I'm going to write the first word, first letter in the center, so that I can distribute the letters accordingly. I'm going to write N here, and then the same distance away I'm going to write E. Again, it helps to have the word in front of you. And again for superior, I'm going to go with blue again. Gosh, this is a race against time. Biting more than one can chew. Let's see if I can write superior without my usual trick. But there is a trick involved in this, that every time I write a letter, I keep checking how much space I have and how many letters I have to go, so that I'm not caught off guard. There's something philosophical about this. Everyone knows that you have a finite day. You have 24 hours. You can always, at every point, say, okay, is this what I want to do? Is this how I want to spend this minute? Because you have the rest of the day to look at and say, okay, how much time do I have left? And is this the most that I am doing with the time I have at hand? Not bad, not bad. We did it. Now I have to wait for superior to dry. So I'm going to make a very, very small rosette. If I can find my... just a tiny one over here, which I will convert into a little rose. And I'm going to write the name of the author, Ernest Hemingway. And this one I'm just going to spread out. You can, of course, count all the letters and distribute them. That's the best way to go about it. But I am going to wing it now because there's no time. But I've still gone and figured out a way to spread it out. Let's hope it's straight. Oh, it did it. Awesome. He fit. Cool. And the last word. God, this is really down to the wire. Everything is dried. And isn't it ironic that we are writing the first line last? Done. Okay, now because of limitation of time, there's just so much that we could do. But if you have a whole day, you could put roses along the edges. You can decorate it any way you want. Now I see that there is a blank space here, so I will make some leaves here as well. Or you can also make another flower if you want to. And the color choice doesn't look so bad, even though it is limited. We have given enough importance to the main words. The other words have also gotten their due. So I think everybody should be happy with this. Hopefully Ernest is sitting in a straight line, but it's okay, it doesn't matter. So thank you everybody. We have another 5 minutes. If you have any questions, please let me know. Let me see if I can help you out with those in the little time that we have. Just a disclaimer, I would normally spend a whole day laboring over this. I would not do this in an hour. No chance. I would probably forget to feed my children or cook dinner, just give them some Maggie or something, because I'll be thinking about what to do, where to fit what color, and what would be the best options. Make all sorts of rough drawings and figure those things out. But sometimes when you have limited time, it's better to get things done rather than just have it as a plan. Thank you all. This was just amazing. Yeah, great. Yeah, artists don't like working fast. So look for your own quotes. I will put up pictures of these cards along with the today's artwork as well. Tomorrow I will make a portrait. Yes, I'm still trying to do yes, pencil coloring. We can do pencil coloring tomorrow when I do the portraits. I will not make the leaves green because green will just interfere with this, so I'm just going to leave this black, and I might go ahead and do some texture in the flower with the black pen, but maybe not. Yes, portrait tomorrow. But tomorrow I'm going to try and do a slightly more advanced version of the portrait. I'm leaving the leaves, no leaves. I might add a few leaves from here also, but let's see, not necessarily. Look at how cute this fellow has turned out. It's just awesome. Yeah, so sometimes it's good to just leave things a little before you think that it's finished, and we don't have to color everything 100%. You can leave a few things uncolored. That works well also. I think it comes from school, where we were taught that if you've drawn something, just fill it up with color. But which color, what shades, all those things matter. So unless you are 100% sure that something is going to look good, don't color it. If you need be, make a small sample on a sheet of paper, keep it next to your current color scheme, and figure out whether it looks really good. Okay, so if you were late, this whole video I'm going to be posting on stories, and if I can save the video, it'll also go on YouTube. There's no such writing style. This is based on a cursive lettering style. This is just brush lettering, but made to look very formal. And the author of the quote is Ernest Hemingway. Yeah, the name of the YouTube channel, I believe you can just search for Aditi Dev. That's ADITYDEO. Tomorrow I'll put a little tape over here on which I can write the YouTube channel also. Yesterday's video unfortunately did not save. I'm so sorry, but the lettering video did save. I think it was lettering day before yesterday. So that one I'm going to put up. YouTube channel, just search for Aditi Dev, ADITYDEO. And I'm gonna have to leave everyone and see you tomorrow. We are going to do pencil portraits and a little bit of color pencil as well. Bye bye.